Hello again. Today we shall talk about one of the parts of our federal government. Now, I'm going to specifically talk about Social Security. Now, for those who don't know how it works and just assume it's like another retirement fund, it is not. It does not work that way. In fact, many Social Security systems in Europe and elsewhere do not work that way. The way they work can best be described as. Oh, sorry, there's a doggo currently trying to get in my hands. Apologies for that one. But the best way to describe them is, and fun the way I describe it, like a pyramid scheme. Those who retire early, let's say, excuse me, those who retire early, let's say the boomers, given they are one of our eldest generations, they receive money taxed from those down here. So that'd be Gen Z, and of course, millennials. Now, Gen X are right on the border. Some of them are retiring, some aren't, so it's about, let's say, here, where the receiving line is. So these people are receiving Social Security. And these guys, down here, they are the ones paying for it. Now, you're forgiven for thinking that it's like a retirement account or like a bank account where they put your money away in a corner, it accrues interest, and then they pay out. No, it's part of the budget. So, let's say this is the national budget. About $1 trillion. It's about an eighth. Actually, it's closer to about a sixth because it's about 1.5. $1.5 trillion is allocated out for Social Security. As for what it brings in, it's only a few hundred billion. It's not that much. I don't have the exact numbers with me, but it isn't that substantial in terms of our in terms of our revenues. So the payroll taxes that are taken out of your and your company's budgets are not exactly going to the best places. Because remember, all these guys paying, let's say, 6%, 12 to 13, if you include the companies who also have to pay, is supposed to pay for everyone up here. Now, the issue is, of course, population growth. As the population grows, the percentage of older people, so I'll just call them old people. I was gonna maybe say like elderly, but now let's just go with old people. The percentage of older people goes up. And as old people go up, the demand for young people goes up as well. But it goes up exponentially. So what it needs is basically to have double every time. Especially as healthcare gets better and people live longer and longer, the demands on the younger generation grows and grows. Because everyone down here has to pay for everyone up here. Now, one might ask, well, maybe there's a way we can reform it. Not really, because no matter how much you take out, that exponential growth will always be a factor. And so, whatever tax you have it, maybe 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever tax you take out of the person's payroll to pay for the elderly, it won't last. Even if we did the richest of the rich and just did it, let's say a 60% payroll tax on them or some other tax on them to pay for Social Security, we would not pay for this. Again, trillion. It's over $1 trillion for Social Security. Now, again, my nose may be off because I haven't looked at the Congressional Budget Office's budget recently, so I may have forgotten, but still, it is a decent percentage of the budget. And without dislodging that, we're going to have issues paying off our debts or really doing anything with the budget. Because think about it, you could abolish the entire US military. We're still in a deficit. That's how bad it is. You could cut every non-essential service, every non-mandatory spending package. We'd likely still be in a deficit or barely in a balance. That is how insane our mandatory spending has gotten, and Social Security is the biggest of them. So what do we do then? Well, the way I see it, there's two ways we can deal with it. Number one, just abolish it. There are better ways to spend your money if you're saving up for retirement. For example, you could put into a Roth IRA or even just a bank account. Legitimately, putting it into your bank account is more effective than Social Security because of how much you put in to how much you get out. The second is Roth IRAs. Now, I already mentioned them, but essentially, they're a retirement account for an individual where your money is put into stocks, which are invested and traded, and the dividends accrue and accrue and accrue. And so they pay out during retirement. This has been shown to make more money than Social Security and provide a lot more stability for the person investing. And thus, if we took all the money people put into Social Security, because the IRS has the data, it's just a matter of going back far enough to see how much each person has put in. If they go back and put it all into a Roth IRA and have it pay out in the similar structure, that could be a way to do mandatory retirement. You could also just compensate them. So, for example, I abolish Social Security, let's say. And then I look through the IRS data and I say, okay, this person paid this much in. Here is your compensation for how much you put in. Do with it as you will. And there's the fourth option, of course. Because you can't deal with the problems when you're dead. However, as anyone who actually values life and understands it would understand, that is a very poor decision. One might say, well, what if we just leave the system as it is? Yeah, no. That'll not help anyone. Again, this structure is not sustainable. It never was. A lot of the elderly like to think, oh, it was when they dipped their pockets into it, that's when it got into a problem. No. From the very founding of Social Security, it was always having this problem because its structure cannot sustain itself. Did you know that only 3 years after Social Security was implemented, people already started receiving checks from it? Yeah, 3 years. To put into perspective how insane that is, the whole point of a retirement account is to save for your retirement, you know? Do you know how long the expected retirement is? Like how long you're expected to work, generally speaking? 20 years to receive retirement from a company is, from what I understand, to be the average. 3 years? You're just retiring. You're not retiring, you're just leaving your job. And so the fact that it was only 3 years after the system was set up means it clearly wasn't a situation where you're putting money in an account and then it's withdrawn when you're retiring. No. It's basically a giant slush fund. All the money is just put in and withdrawn as necessary to keep people appeased until time comes and you need to, do it with another person and another and another. It's essentially appeasement. These people are reliant on it because that's the only thing they heard they needed for retirement, and these people are stuck paying the bill. And most of them know, I'm not going to be able to receive this because this system cannot last with any level of reasonability because your kids, which remember, a lot of people aren't having as many kids nowadays, your kids have to pay for it and you need a lot more children to pay for you, especially as you grow older. For example, if people live to 60 years old and the average retirement was 55, that's a good 5 years of payment. Not bad. It's manageable. If people retire at 60 but they live till 70, that's 10 years. That's literally half the ability to pay because you're extending it over double the period. But as people start living to 75, 80, some even 90, it becomes unsustainable. You cannot reasonably expect a system with this mechanism of operation to last for any reasonable period of time. It has to be abolished eventually. I know a lot of people on the left especially are like, no, we need Social Security, we need to keep it. Nah. No, it's not going to last. It physically cannot last. Short of the United States government seizing all the money from the young people and giving it to the old, this system cannot sustain itself. And I don't think I need to explain why that's a bad idea. Who are the best people at fighting, physically? The young, because they have the adrenaline, they have the bodies for it, and for the men especially, they have the testosterone to gain muscle a lot easier. Meanwhile, the degradation of age means the old are less able to keep up. It's just a general fact. Now, skill is something. A lot of the people up here are far more willing to fight than people down here. But sheer numbers is a thing, and getting enough people down here who are willing to fight those up here means you can, basically through sheer numbers, overwhelm them. So, yeah, maybe let's not have a civil war over ages. Frankly, I wouldn't want to kill my dad. That seems like a very bad idea for a number of reasons. So instead, we gotta rework this, or just straight up abolish it. I'm on Team Abolish here. Hello. So, you know where I stand. Now, I'm open to these two, frankly, because they're effective and they're good ways of placating the people. Two especially I like because it makes it a lot easier to just run the economy, because if everyone's shoving their money into a Roth IRA, that means stock prices are going up, meaning payoffs for taxes on capital gains and other such things go up. But still, at the end of the day, we gotta do something. This system cannot work as it is. So, let's do something.